Right, great. So, elevation. Basically, what elevation is what you'll see when you look at the building head on. So let me just remove the roof layer so you could see this a little bit better. Right. So if I was to look at this building, this part of the building here, straight head on, what will I see? Um, yeah, what will I see? Well, we could see that there's a door, there's a window, another window, and a nice big straight wall. So that's probably what we will see. And so in the elevations, that's all we're trying to achieve. We're just trying to basically represent what this is going to look like if we look at it head on and not from above, which is why a floor plan is a view from above. But if we was to look at it head on, that's what the elevation is. So the first thing we're going to do is not this. We're going to change our layer to the building outline or the walls. Yeah, yeah. Put it to the walls. And then we're going to draw our first line. Now we starting from that point of the building. Go down how much we want. Do that to the other side of the building. Right. So now you might be wondering, well, why this bottom line so long? Is that long because this is actually showing the ground and not the building. And obviously the building going to be resting on the ground and the ground is going to extend past the walls of the building. So that's why we extend it just to show that this is the earth, right? So now you're going to draw your two lines like that. Great. Now we're going to offset the ground so that we could get the actual first bottom piece of the building. So you'll be like this, right? So because most times when you walk into a building, there's a like a little step up to enter it. It's not like flush on the ground because then water and stuff will come in. So most times it have a little step up like this before you could go inside, right? So that's what we're gonna draw now. Um, how do we do that? We offset bottom line by, that's not offset. We offset the bottom line by 300, actually 600. Sure. Yeah, so we offset the bottom line by 600. Um, then we offset this line by 2,400, right? And then the this top line by 300. Right, great. And so now this is how our building, this is basically the wall of the building, how the wall going to look, right? Just trim off all this extra stuff. It's amazing. Probably trim this as well. Uh, no, I'm not gonna trim it. Right, great. So now we need to put in openings. Right. So most times in a typical building, um, the all openings are gonna start on the same level, right? So for us on our drawing, we said to start all the openings at 2000 at the same level, right? So we're gonna just offset 2000 from this line here because this is like our actual ground floor. This is the earth and this is the actual ground floor. So you're offsetting from this line. So once again, offset by 2000, right? Great. So now this is the point, the line at which all of our openings are gonna start from, right? So now we just have to do the same thing like we did with the walls. Just go to the end of your opening and drag the line come down. Oh, this one that needs to be so far down, right? Just drag the line come down. I agree. So now we have the outline of our openings. Openings. Great. So just extend this because this is a door, right? And obviously the door is not going to be floating on the wall. The door is going to be touching the ground floor. So the door, we can leave it as the full 2000, right? So you just trim off the excess parts. Okay. So you just trim off the excess parts, right? This is our door. This window. Trim off all the excess, right? So now this is two windows and a door. And let me just clear up this part up here because we don't need these lines anymore. Right, great. Now, depending on the size of your windows, that's going to determine how much you're going to offset by, right? My windows on this side are 1200, so I'm going to offset 1200 from this tippity top. Right, great. So now our doors and windows start on the same place and the windows are the correct size. And now you could kind of see how it coming together. In the beginning, I said that we would have see the door and the two windows, and we kind of seeing it now. So, um, refining, just trimming out the excess. Great. Now, our opening is supposed to be on the openings layer. Um, just going to change that. Right. So yeah, that's basically the elevation done, right? No, I forget to mention this, but you notice that I have no paper. Why is that? Because the elevations was going off the paper, so we just disable the paper space. Um, I have no fear though. All your like measurements, the scale and everything is still going to be the same. And I think you could add it back later. Or maybe when you're printing it, it does automatically come back. So it don't really matter. But yeah, I don't know. You should probably ask your teacher before you delete it. But yeah, we deleted it. So right. So now what am I going to do? Um, right. So this is basically the elevation for the building done. This was very simple. So I'll send you the measurements so that I could remember it. But yeah, now I'm gonna copy it and drag it down so that we could do the roof. Um, roof, the roof. Right, great. This would be fair enough. Right. So now, obviously, you might need to input your roof drawing into it, but I already have mine here. So I'm just gonna turn back on the roof layer. Right. So the roof layer is on. Right, the roof layer. Now I'm gonna switch my thing-a-ling-a-ling to the roof outline because I'm gonna draw the elevation for the roof. And just like the building, is literally what you're gonna see when you look at the roof, right? So our lovely teachers at PBC made us go outside and draw what we were seeing so that we could understand this topic. But I guess convent teachers is not really um thinking like that. Anyway, so full trick a lick a lick. This is what roof is this? A hip roof, I think. Yep. Anyway, right. So most times these angles here, when you're actually building the roof, these angles here, which is what missed there, are 23 degrees. So to make sure that we get the 23 degrees, we want to come here first, turn on restrict the cursor for the angles one, and put it on 23 degrees 45. Or if you're not seeing 23 degrees, any one of these options that is closest to 23 or 22 degrees. Right. So you just want to switch to that. Wait, before we switch to it, you want to draw a straight line from this point here. If this is the type of roof you have, but if it's not, you're just at a lie the knowledge. No. Right. So you just want to draw that line come down here. This line is like the center of the roof. So that's where the lines are going to meet. This is very useful, as you will see just now. Drawing all the lines from the edge of the roof as well. Come down. So I'd rather do it again. And right. So line. So we're gonna obviously start in the corner here. And we're gonna want to turn on the restrict cursor for angles. We're gonna want to make sure that it's around 22 degrees. No, this is not 22 degrees. But 6, 7 is is good because when I connect it to the line, if we come and use the measure tool, you'll notice that it's actually 23 degrees, which is amazing, right? So yeah, that's good. So we're just gonna do that again. Um, starting here, 6, 7 again, enter. Good. So yeah, that's the roof. That's literally what we're going to see. No, it's not done. Give me a sec. I agree. Right. So yeah. So the roof not done. Now we need to get the outline, not the outline, the overhang, and so on and so forth. So we're just gonna extend these two lines I should probably make this one a little longer. Alright, that look good. No, we're just gonna extend these two lines to what is this? Extend the two lines to make it um touch the extend these two lines to make it touch this line. Right. So extend that. No, I want you to extend this way. Good. Up. Right. Enter. Good. So what was the first step? Right. So now that we extended the point where this diagonal line touches this straight line, just going to draw another straight line, go right across. So now you restrict cursor for straight lines and just draw, go right across until it touches. Right. Like that. Bam. Then what you want to do now is you want to offset this by 300 or 100 or something. By 200. Okay, so you want to offset that by 200. So we're going to off by 200, enter, click on the line, bring it down, enter, and now we just had to clean up. We done. So now we just clean it up. So erase this center line here. Erase. Actually, it'll be better to trim this line and not erase it. So trim, 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 trim. Well, I don't know why that one wanted to disappear. Right, great. Now we have our roof. Probably could I erase these long, but now we have our elevation. But when we look at it, the building part still kind of weird. No, when you're drawing the building, do not be lazy and not do this top part because you're going to erase it anyway, right? You must do it because when they are taking the measurements to grade your elevation after, if you don't do this part here, the 300 on the top of the building, your roof gonna be off and they're gonna take a max. So you probably should try it. You definitely should try it, probably. Definitely should try it. Yep. Right, now we done. See? So this is how we do the elevation. No, the last thing, two things. Miss didn't teach us how to do the step. She said she would have do that a while now, and she didn't teach us. So I don't know how to do that either. And the next thing you had to do is just get creative and design your windows however you want. Um, if you look here, I'm like a pro designer and I did all of this by myself. Also, you could go in 80 center, but kind of had to scale the 80 center doors and windows and stuff to fit the actual thing. But let me just show you that just in case. Right, 80 center. Um, so when you open it, you'll look something like that. You hit this dynamic center, design center, not dynamic. And then you could click, not basic drawings. Which one should you click? Home space, probably. Home space plan. Blocks. Um, nope. Should not click this. This one has nothing to do with doors and windows. Maybe HVAC heating. Nope. But this one of them. Let's see. Oh, house design. Definitely house design. Yep. Right. So if we look, you'll see we have fancy door, plain door, and it's supposed to have a window. Yep, and a window. So you just had to take it, click it and drag it. You'll be kind of tiny and thing, really tiny. It's over here, really, really tiny. You just had to scale it up and try and stretch it to make it um fit in your drawings. But what I was realizing was that it's not, even though I make it big, I couldn't find a way to stretch it. So it wasn't really working for me. It might for you, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so that's how you do the elevation. But the windows and thing, that design easy. If you don't get the 80 center thing to work, just make the door design for yourself. Um, how I do this, I offset the frame by 100, offset from the actual door by 100. This is just a circle. I offset again by 50, I think, right? So this rectangle inside here is offset by 50. And I just put diagonals in the corner to make it look like the door design. This, how did I do this? Right, I joined this, so it was not joint, and I just joined it to make the offsetting easier. Offset the whole thing by 100, so we have an inside box. And then I drew a straight line, bam, bam, and I offset from the straight center line, 50 on one side, 50 on the other side. And then I deleted the center, and now I have this, a window, right? So that's how it's done. Um, I know I'm a genius at everything, so I hope that helped. Yep. Where's my taskbar? Where's my taskbar? Where's my taskbar? Okay, here it is. Right, yeah, I hope that helped. Um, eh, yeah, good luck. Wow, this is 22 minutes long. Wow.